You don't just want your pickup to haul, you also want it to haul. Off-road preferably. Pickups may have a workman background, but they become so much more than that. American buyers have found that they can have their work and play in the same package, and where better to play than in the dirt. Off-road racing is dominated by trophy trucks, and manufacturers are starting to give us some of that pre-runner fun in their daily driver package. Here's 10 2021 models that let you play in the dirt like an adult. 2021 Ford F-150 Raptor. Everyone wants what big air trophy trucks are known for, but for a mere mortal off-road pickup, the landing would be all she wrote for that truck, and probably your spine. In 2009, Ford gave our dreams flight by releasing a factory pre-runner in the F-150 Raptor. In 2021, the Raptor is no longer alone in the high-performance off-road pickup world, but its third generation answers that challenge in a big way. Literally. The Raptor comes standard on 35-inch tires and a Raptor-only chassis, with a whole other chassis if you want to go bigger with 37-inch tires, giving the jump-friendly truck over a foot of clearance. To absorb that sweet air, a new 5-link suspension has been added. To gain that sweet air, it comes with an EcoBoost twin turbo, putting out 450 horsepower. If that's not enough for you, next year we'll see the Raptor R, which will share an engine with the Shelby GT500. Jeep Gladiator Mojave Rubicon. A Jeep pickup hadn't existed since 1988, before the Gladiator made its comeback, but they'd never been a stranger to the places where the pavement ends. If your pleasure is flying down a desert trail without a care in the world for all the bumps and whoopsies that you're clearing, there's the Mojave with its softer, longer traveling suspension. If climbing over the rocks and hard terrain you might find in Northern California's rough and tumble Rubicon Trail, then there's the appropriately named Gladiator Rubicon. The V6 puts out just shy of 300 horsepower at a price point comparable to the more powerful Raptor, and after Motor Trend's test drive, they recommend a weight distributing hitch for the Mojave, as it had difficulty keeping the trailer under control in anything other than perfect conditions. 2021 Ram 1500 TRX. You might wonder why Ford would be putting a V8 in their Raptor when they already have 450 horsepower on tap. Well, that's because the folks over at Ram are busy running around trying to see what they can stuff their 702 horsepower Hellcat engine in, and the Ram 1500 TRX is the latest recipient. Like the Raptor, the TRX has a beefed-up undercarriage, so they can show it to those earthbound losers as you let those 702 horses launch all 6,866 pounds in the air, and still have a functioning truck when it lands. All that comes at a price, and not just a $71,790 starting price that's north of a well-equipped Raptor, but also in the gas-guzzling 10 miles to the gallon city and 14 highway. You gotta feed the beast. Nissan Titan Pro 4X. The company that brought us the Z-Car and the fire-breathing GTR has also gotten in on the hot pickup game with the Titan Pro 4X. Back in 2020, the Titan got a facelift inside and out to make it more usable and more distinct from the market-leading F-150. Pro 4X trim gets its boogie from a 400 horsepower V8 with full-time four-wheel drive. Naturally, the whole thing rides on bigger tires. The Titan Pro 4X makes more of a nod to functionality than its more hooligan-oriented competitors, with creature comforts and mild manners. Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. If you're looking to spend a little less on your warmed-over dirt stomper, you can find it in the long-lived Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. But like anything else, you get what you pay for. This version of the Tundra has been around longer than the entire lifespan of the Raptor, setting to bow out after 14 years, with a new edition coming out next year. While the Tundra was once the big challenger to the top-selling Ford F-Series trucks, it's been left behind a little. It has a thirsty V8 that puts down 381 horsepower while only delivering 13 miles to the gallon in the city and 17 cruising the highways. The benefit to the Tundra's long in the tooth status is that it hasn't given way to the touchscreen-obsessed interiors that are all the vogue now, allowing the driver to operate the controls regardless of the conditions of their hands. Chevrolet Colorado ZR2. The ZR1 badge on a Corvette means that it's the all-fire version of America's sports car. So the ZR2 on the Colorado means business, but not in the same race car way. The ZR2 widens the Colorado by 3.5 inches and lifts it another 2 inches. Appropriately aggressive flares and front grille have been added as well, so that it's not mistaken for a workday Colorado. It carries a V6 that puts out just over 300 horsepower for petrol, as well as an option for diesel, for those who look to do more crawly and less flyy off-roading. The special sauce for the Colorado comes in the form of the Multimatic Dynamic Suspension Spool Valve Dampers. GMC Sierra AT4. Naturally, pickups are not all flying through the desert or crawling through the rocks. Trucks are serious business. You can tell, because in the ads they put serious business stuff in the back and tow serious things with serious-looking men. When you need your truck to do serious business but still eat unpaved terrain, there's the GMC Sierra 2500 AT4. AT4 is the off-road designation for the GMC brand. The big guy gets its 401 horsepower from a 6.6-liter V8, or you can go with the Duramax diesel that puts out 445 horsepower and a staggering 910 pound-feet of torque with a towing capacity of 18,500 pounds. Ford F-250 Tremor. The blue oval has its own heavy-duty option, with a badge that implies at least some pleasure with the business, in the form of the F-250 Tremor. Unlike its bounding stablemate, the Tremor, like the name suggests, is a ground pounder, and there's no clearer indication than the power plant options. A massive 6.6-liter V8 puts down 430 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque. But if that sounds too pedestrian for your heavy-duty truck, there's the diesel option that provides similar horsepower, but 1,050 pound-feet of torque for that extra stump pulling power. Both power plants go through Ford's bicycle-worthy 10-speed transmission that lands mileage closer to 20 miles per gallon than 10. Dodge Power Wagon. You can't really talk about four-wheel trucks without talking about the patient zero of the off-road hauler, the Dodge Power Wagon. Like the Jeep, the Power Wagon is the product of a little bit of swords to plowshares action. The WC truck Dodge, made for the war effort during World War II, became a civilian model in 1945 and remained a staple of the Dodge pickup line up to 1980, coming back in 2005 for their 3/4-ton pickup line. With release schedule math, that makes the 2021 model the 75th anniversary edition. For the occasion, it gets to borrow liberally from the TRX's collection of off-road goodness. Hennessey Goliath 6x6. Maybe all that is too pedestrian for you, not audacious enough. You want to go bigger. You want to spend an amount of money that can be expressed as a fraction of $1 million. You want a Hennessey Goliath 6x6. That would be a Chevy Silverado given an extra axle, a bit of lift, and 6 37-inch tires. This monument to excess is powered by the 450 HP V8. But if that's not enough for you, their similarly configured Velociraptor, based on the Ford Raptor, produces 600 horsepower. Only 24 will be produced, with the first going to Idaho's largest potato farmer, because of course. $375,000 makes one yours, including the Donner Silverado. If you do get one of these dirt monsters, don't let it sit shiny in your driveway making runs to Home Depot and the thrift store. Go out there and find some mud, kick up some dirt, catch some air. There's no bigger shame than a clean truck.